Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one we are looking at the captaincy model for Game Week 12. So we'll have a quick overview of the Game Week 11 results and then we'll look at the numbers for Game Week 12. So let's get straight into it. Salah was top by some margin really, and Salah got a goal, got an assist, so did very well. Very happy that I went with Salah over the last few weeks. Not captain, to be fair. In my own team, I thought this was kind of a good week to maybe go a little bit different. So I actually captained Bruno Fernandes as he was pretty high at the captaincy model. That obviously went incredibly well for me. 17 points. I think he was actually the top scorer in the whole game week. So can't really complain too much there. But yeah. Son in second. Now there's obviously three Spurs players in this list. That fixture was just ideal for Spurs. And to be honest, so I had Son's minutes at 70. And Son actually played 90 minutes, I think. So if I had him at 90 minutes, he probably would have been up there with Salah. Maybe even ahead of Salah. So, I mean, that fixture was just... I'm not sure that Spurs can really be trusted in these easier fixtures. They lost against Crystal Palace a few weeks ago, and they've now lost against Ipswich as well. So it's not, and these are both, I think they were both home games. Oh no, Crystal Palace might have been away actually. But either way, they can't really be trusted in these easier games or easier fixtures, annoyingly. But at least one of the Spurs players in Porro actually got a return, so he got an assist, but still only managed 4 points. We had obviously Son in second, Solanke in fifth. Solanke had a goal disallowed. And the only other player to return... so Salah obviously returned, he was first. Fernandes returned in third. Haaland was in fourth, almost level with Fernandes. So when I calculate or update the model, it does go to however many decimal points. So Fernandes was marginally ahead of Haaland. I didn't just put Fernandes ahead even though they were completely equal. Fernandes was marginally ahead. So Haaland was in fourth, 5 points. He did get his goal, obviously, but still pretty disappointing return from him. And then, Mbomo in seventh. Bournemouth at home. He only managed an assist. Since Wiss has come back, Mbomo's kind of threat has been lessened a little bit, and also Brentford's fixtures get a little bit worse from Game Week 14, so there is something to note there. Although, to be honest, Game Week 13, he could be very high up in this captaincy model. It wouldn't surprise me if he's top 3 in Game Week 13, but that's for next week anyway. Then Palmer with not such a good fixture, Bowen in there in 9th and Foden in 10th. Foden's been in and around this for a few weeks and he's done absolutely nothing, which is really unfortunate for owners, to be honest, because the minutes have been good and that would have been the worry. And the minutes potentially aren't going to be as good now because De Bruyne is back. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you do about that, but I think Foden probably isn't a keep anymore in FPL, really. I'd probably get rid of him if I owned him. But, yeah, so... The expected minutes were probably all about right. I think that most of these players played 90 minutes, so obviously we got Son a little bit wrong with 70. I do think though that if Spurs were winning 2 or 3-0, then I highly doubt he would have played the 90 minutes. But well, that doesn't really matter, I suppose. But also, if they were 2-3-0 up, he would probably have been involved in a goal anyway. So. Doesn't really matter too much. And then the only other one who wasn't high up towards 90 was Foden, and he's just hard to predict because you never know if he's going to be benched or if he's going to start. If he starts, he probably gets 90 or close to. So the reason for not having him up around 85 with the others is that there's quite a high chance of a benching most of the time. But anyway, not a too bad result for the captaincy model really this week. I mean, Spurs were the disappointing ones, but let's move on to Game Week 12 now. So, unsurprisingly, Salah is top this week. He plays Southampton away. I don't actually think he's been on international duty either, so well rested for this one. Southampton away is obviously a pretty good fixture, but there isn't much between him and Haaland in second. Haaland has Tottenham at home. We know that the Spurs defence can be a bit shaky at the best of times. So yeah, there's only 0.12 expected points in it. And those two are a fair amount ahead of Parma in third. But the weird one with kind of Haaland is Spurs. I did a little bit of research the other day about Spurs and them playing away from home. So away from home, they've played 5 away games this season. In 4 of those games, the opposition striker, has scored. So who was it? Isak was one of them. Vardy was one of them in the first game week. Mateta was one of them. And there was a fourth one as well. Can't remember who that fourth one was. But the only game where the opposition striker hasn't scored was against Man United in that weird game when Bruno Fernandes got sent off. Xerxes came off at half time because Bruno Fernandes got sent off. And they kind of played without a striker as well until Højlund come on for like 15 minutes at the end. So a bit of an outlier anyway, to be honest, that game. So, and also I did look up in away games, no team has conceded a higher percentage of chances through central areas as well. So I guess it's not surprising that Haaland is high up this list. If I owned Haaland, I'd be very tempted to captain him this week, even if I had Salah as well, to be honest. Just because I think the matchup is absolutely brilliant and the model, kind of, the numbers represent that as well. Parma's in third, obviously Leicester away, very, very good fixture. Leicester defence looks not so great. So, again, he's an outside captaincy option, although I'd still probably prefer the top 2. Then we've got Saka with Nottingham Forest at home. I've got him at 84 minutes, so I think when making these videos, it makes more sense to put players at their minutes if they're going to be available, because I make this video quite early in the week usually, so I can't wait for press conferences or anything like that. So I guess the best use of this is to know what they're like if they're going to be available. So yeah, I've got Saka at 84 minutes. Obviously it's quite a good fixture with Nottingham Forest at home, albeit their defence has been pretty good. I don't think many people will be captaining Saka anyway this week, to be honest, given that the top 3 have quite good fixtures. Then Isak comes back into this list now that they've got some good fixtures. West Ham at home is obviously brilliant. West Ham defence has been pretty diabolical. The whole team in general, to be honest, has been pretty diabolical recently. Fernandes again with a nice fixture. I think if this fixture was at home, Ipswich away, if it was at home, I think he'd be much higher up this list. I think he'd probably be around similar to Saka. So I don't think this is the week to be captaining Bruno Fernandes, although I do like the fixture. Then Mbomo still in this list. Everton away. Brentford are a bit weird in that at home their kind of goal threat and general performances have been so good, but then away from home they've been pretty bad. So it doesn't surprise me that he's quite low down this list, even though Everton is a good fixture because it's an away game. And then Gordon as well. So we don't know if Gordon is actually fully fit. I think he might have got a knock. So, but I've still put his minutes at 85 just to represent, if he is available, where he'd be on this list. And he does make the list for the first time in quite a while. Same with Odegaard. He is also fit now after playing the game last weekend. So he's in 9th, and then Watkins is in 10th with Crystal Palace at home. As I've mentioned before, this model does, or I think it does, kind of undervalue forwards a little bit. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, obviously we know that forwards don't get a clean sheet point. They also get 1 less point for a goal than midfielders do. But that is kind of baked into the model anyway, so not sure why it undervalues them so much. Obviously Haaland is a different story. He's always up there. But in terms of other players, yeah, it does tend to undervalue forwards a bit. Like Isak has always been typically lower than other models that I've looked at and benchmark against. Same as Watkins. and same as Havertz as well. They've always been much lower on these lists than on other models, but still, I have been kind of looking into it, and I don't think there's anything going on that's wrong, so maybe it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, that is the top 10 for this week. I don't think you need to look anywhere but the top 3, or probably the top 2 this week, to be honest. There's good fixtures for these good teams, so they are the players to go for. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.